guys, Displacer Magic here. You know what time it is. It's spoiler time! And finally, guys, geez, they bumped the brakes on the hype train. We've only got 48 to cover today instead of 52. It's about damn time. So first up, we got Displacer Beast. I am sick of reading the mana cost and the power and toughness and the color. I'm not going to do it. If you want, actually look at the screen. I'll probably just cut this video right in half. When Displacer Beast enters battlefield, venture into the dungeon, and then displacement. You pay 4, return Displacer Beast to its owner's hand. Boy, on the list of really extremely roundabout ways to enter the dungeon, it's never going to catch on. I think it's at the point where it's not even going to catch on in Commander. So next up, we got Elter Guard. What the hell is that? Ranger. So this bro right here has reach, and when it enters battlefield, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Never like these overcosted modular creatures. They're just not good. Next up, Clattering Skeletons. So when it dies, venture into the dungeon. But let me just point out, then you don't have this anymore. You can't use this anymore because it's dead, making it not worth it and not a very good investment of 4 mana. Next up, Planar Ally. Flying, when it attacks, venture into the dungeon. Now see, that's per attack and it's in the air. Here we go. Too bad it's a 3/3 for 5. It is an angel, so let's say you just slot, 1 to 4 of these into an angel's deck, and it's just, okay, angel tribal boost, ETB, woohoo. You could just simply have the dungeon cards and rely on just this to trigger it, and that's it. I do like that you don't have to dedicate your whole deck to dungeons. It could literally just be 1 card. Now, if you're almost to the dungeon part that you actually want to do, like the actually powerful part, usually the end, but honestly, some of them is none of the rooms, and then your only source of entering into the dungeon dies, well, that's not good. But, I mean, you could do it. It could just be like a little side thing that your one creature does. And honestly, I think that's what it's going to be relegated to. Now, would I be surprised if day 1 we get somebody running a 100% just dungeon looping disaster deck where you just get your ass kicked because you can't interact with the dungeons in any way? No, that would not surprise me in the least. So next up, we've got something in a different language. Yay! I may not know Portuguese, but I know that's Secret Door, Defender, obviously. And if you pay 5, venture into the dungeon. Only at sorcery speed, though. 5 mana. 5 mana to start or proceed through a dungeon. Wow. So like 50 mana will get you through a dungeon, but you can take 50 mana and run it into a Stone Cold Serpent and just win the game. I know, okay, not across turns, but still. Next up, Instrument of the Bards. Legendary artifact is green, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a Harmony counter on Instrument of the Bards. And then if you pay 4, tap it, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to the number of Harmony counters, exactly equal to, by the way, on Instrument of the Bards, reveal it, and put it into your hand. If that card is legendary, create a treasure token, then shuffle. So this is nearly identical to a very similar card. I think it's like also a harp or some kind of musical instrument. I don't know. It was printed years ago. But yeah, this auto tutor fetch thing, I mean, it goes to your hand, so it doesn't go into play, but still, this could be really good. Next up, Orcus, Prince of Undeath. Oh boy, Orcus made it to here. It's a 5/3 for 4+X, flying and trample, and then when it enters the battlefield, choose 1. Each other creature gets -X until end of turn. You lose X life, or the one that's actually good, return up to, just kidding, X target creature cards with total mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. They gain haste until end of turn. But remember, you're already paying 4, so it's like 4+X. Like, what do you have, like 10 mana, and then you're only going to get a combined 6 total mana value out of your graveyard? I mean, there's some stuff you could do in other formats, that's for sure. You could get away with some stuff in Modern and Commander, but I don't know. I could see either one. Next up, we got Excavation Torch. It's white artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, and whenever they attack, venture into the dungeon. This is a must-have in a dungeon deck, but it's only in white, and I actually kind of like that they did that. Next up, we got Veteran Labyrinth Explorer. It's a 4-cost human warrior that's a 3/4, but when it enters battlefield, venture to the dungeon. But then that's it. After that, it's a garbage sub-vanilla creature. Like, sub-vanilla, if it costs 4 and it's a 4/4, that's vanilla. Anything with lower stats than that is sub-vanilla, in my opinion. So, a one-and-done piece of garbage in the common slot. Yeah, that's filler. That's draft filler right there. So next up, we got Wandering Bard. He's a Dragon Bard, and at the beginning of your end step, if a land entered the battlefield under your control this turn, venture into the dungeon. So it's a once per turn check. It's not true landfall, but I mean, this will get you through a dungeon a couple times. I mean, this is a damn good card. It's kind of weird how there's like certain ones, and they're not even color specific, where it's like really easy to get the dungeon, or to like proceed through the dungeon, and then there's other ones where it's like, you would never put that card in your deck. It's so one and done or so expensive or so narrow, or you have to like hit them with a 2/2 or something. I've started to wonder if like these are the core cards and then the other ones are just like, well, I guess you get like one extra little procedure, but then the cards are so garbage, like they don't do anything. I don't know if they're, like I said, draft filler or what. I don't get the discrepancy between, oh, look, you could easily trigger this 10 times in 10 turns without even trying, which, okay, landfall, probably not. And then other ones like, oh, on attack and it's in the air, and then another one's like, you have to hit them and it's on the ground. Did they not realize that those two are completely different difficulties? Did that not occur to them? Oh, próximo tenemos Pastora silvana, aka Sylvan Shepherd, and it's a 2/3 for 3, but it's got the D20 effect, oh boy, also Vigilance. So, obviously, since it's Vigilance, whenever it attacks, roll a D20. And then if you get 1 through 9, ganas una vida, just kidding, it's gain 1 life. And then if you get 10 through 19, you gain 2 life. You'll never guess what you get for 20. I'll give you a hint. Ganas cinco vidas. This is actually like kind of a funny trolley card. I feel like it should be white, but like white's got enough life gain, but then again, like green has too much life gain. And card draw. Green needs to learn to stay in its lane lately. Next up, Dragon's Disciple. When it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand. If you do, or if you control a dragon, Dragon's Disciple enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it, and then dragons you control have ward 1. Nice. I kind of like the tribal assistance cards that they've been doing lately that aren't actually on tribal. They're just the tribe's assistants, but then they're like really, really good. Next up, Eccentric Apprentice. Flying, and when it enters battlefield, venture into the dungeon, because of course, and then at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you've completed a dungeon, here we go, been waiting for these, up to 1 target creature becomes a bird with base, power, and toughness 1/1 and flying until end of turn. So once you've completed any one dungeon 1 time for the rest of the game, you get to, at the beginning of combat, turn something into a bird. That is amazing. It is only until end of turn, but still. I mean, it's a 1/1 flying bird, and this guy's a 2/2 flyer, so I mean, that actually fits too. This is a really good card. Not necessarily power-wise, but like fun-wise and interesting card design. When I say good, people are like, oh, I'd never put that in a deck. That's not what I mean by good. Well, sometimes it is, but usually I just mean it's well designed. Next up, we got Precipitous Drop. So you enchant creature, and when Precipitous Drop enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. Enchanted creature gets -2, -2, and it gets -5 as long as you've completed a dungeon. I told you they were saving the as long as you completed a dungeon cards, and now we're going to see a bunch of them. This is decent, but honestly, for 3 mana, it's kind of not. I mean, Stab Wound is an infinitely better card. Next up, Volo Guide to Monsters, who authored the book Volo's Guide to Monsters, in case you're wondering. Well, he looks exactly like what I pictured. And let me just say, by comparison, what a weak, pathetic, unlikable character who almost wasn't even in the second movie Newt Scamander is. God, he's got like some kind of social anxiety disorder or something. I mean, the dude is just fucking weird. So anyway, Volo here is a 4-cost 3/2 legendary creature human wizard, and then whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you already control, or a creature card in your graveyard, copy that spell. That is straight power. So yeah, universal cloning, but there's a catch to it. I mean, that actually kind of looks fun, and you still have to pay for the first copy, so it's not like you're free casting, you know? So, that's interesting. And they made Volo legendary, so you can't get 2 triggers. Without Panharmonicon, which should be banned from all formats. The whole rest of the video would be about Panharmonicon, I swear, but I already hit the next button, and it's Pixie Guide, damn it. Watch this be a Panharmonicon reprint. So, okay, flying, okay, granted advantage, okay. If you would roll 1 or more dice instead, clone triggered ability. Just kidding. Roll that many dice +1 and ignore the lowest roll. Or as I like to call it, cheating. None of the roll a die things are good enough, in my opinion, to build a whole deck around it. And honestly, this is a common, so I think this is just for drafts. Next up, we got a Lightfoot Rogue. Sneak attack. Whenever Lightfoot Rogue attacks, roll a d20. So this is before you declare blockers, though. So whatever it does, you can see it coming here. So 1 through 9, it gains Death Touch. Okay, 10 through 19, it gains +1 and Death Touch. They're all just Death Touch. Okay, well, I shouldn't have even set that up then. I thought they were going to do something less stupid. So 20, it gets +3 and gains First Strike and Death Touch. I would have loved this creature if it would have said, like, somehow hide the result from your opponent until blockers are declared. That would have been the funniest, most, like, trying to bluff out your opponent crap, dude. That would have been so fun. Still, all things considered, this card's really, really good. Next up, Goblin Morningstar. It's a 2-drop red equipment, and equipped creature has +1 and trample, because we all know red is the trample color, not green. Okay. Then, equip 2, and then whenever it enters the battlefield, roll a d20. And if you have 1 through 9, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token, and come on, is it too much to ask for one tiny little bit of consistency here? 10 through 20, inclusive of 20, is create a 1/1 red goblin creature token, then attach the Morningstar to it. 20 do the same thing and it gains haste. There, was that too hard? I guarantee you that that's what the card said, but then they had to delete it because they're out of space on the card. I guarantee you that's what happened. If you read some of the like developer vlogs and stuff, that has happened like 10 times already in the last couple of years, where they're just like, we meant to put this and it didn't fit. Or it didn't fit in one specific foreign language, German, excuse me. Next up, oh, they didn't. It's the deck of many things. I love it, and I love it so much that I hate it. And I also hate it so much that I love it. So it's a 5-drop legendary artifact. Damn right it is. Oh, it doesn't say roll a 1 and lose the game. Come on. Come on. Why even do it then? If you're not going to do roll a 1 and lose the game, why even do it? Okay, so 2, pay 2 mana, tap it, roll a d20, and subtract the number of cards in your hand. If the result is 0 or less, discard your hand? What? So, like, if you have, like, 5 cards in hand, you shouldn't do this, because if you roll a 6, you're going to be right back at 1, which, okay, that's fine, but if you roll a 5 or lower, you have to discard your entire hand. So the higher the number of cards in your hand, the more likely you are to discard your entire hand. Okay, that's the penalty, I guess. So, I mean, from a balancing standpoint, yeah. From a devastating loss potential, which is the definition of this stupid item in D&D, okay, I could live with this. Okay, so anyway, 1 through 9, return a card at random from your graveyard to your hand. Completely at random. That is so likely to be garbage, it's hilarious. Now remember, it doesn't say, like, that's it, end the effect, if you were to effectively come up with 0, if the result is 0 or less. You still will get 1 card back, but it's at random, and you just toss your entire hand into your graveyard, which probably has other cards in it. So that's like the consolation prize. 10 through 19, draw 2 cards. Okay. Makes sense, because then you get a big advantage over your opponent, but then the higher it is, the more likely this is to backfire the next time you pay for it. So, okay. And 20. Okay, what do they do for this? Put a creature card from any graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. When that creature dies, its owner loses the game. Owner, not controller. Owner. I mean, I'd complain about the fairness of that, but it's going to happen 5% of the time. Watch for your opponent to rigroll, though. I could spot a rigged roll from miles away. So you're attacking them with the creature you stole from their graveyard, but they don't want to, like, block it too hard. Otherwise it might die and they'll lose the game. That is hilarious. Okay, I kind of love this. I don't think anything in MTG could have possibly stood up to the deck of many things, but this is pretty close. Next up, we've got allegedly Spanish. Oh my god, I'll do my best. It's, I think it's Sacerdotisa Mortal de Miracle, which that just sounds Russian. Like, what? Why is the M not capitalized? It's at least an adjective. Anyway, it's Deadly Priestess of Miracle, or Miracle, or Meerkat Colony, or I don't know. So it's a 4-cost 2/2. Okay. Tiefling Cleric, obviously. And skeletons, vampires, and zombies you control get +1/+1. Oh, it's an off-tribal Lord's card that costs too much, so that's how, honestly, Lord's cards should do. They're too powerful and too ubiquitous right now. So at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 1/1 black skeleton creature token. Okay. Bringing the value up from worthless to, okay, this is kind of okay. But if 5 creatures die, you only get 1 skeleton, obviously. Next up, we've got Scion of, I don't know, Stygia. I'll just call him Tiefling Douche. I hate Tieflings. 3 costs 2/1, so not exactly Value Town, but then it has Flash and Cone of Cold. When it enters the battlefield, choose target creature an opponent controls, then roll a d20. 1 through 9, tap that creature. 10 through 20, tap that creature, and it doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Oh, come on, roll a 20 and it's exiled. God, come on. People are going to be rolling crits and be like, oh, it's not one of the crit cards. Every single one should have had a 20 effect, but look, do you see room on that card for a 20? That's the problem. I'm sure this started out with a 20 ability. Now, for example, let's look at the next one. Ginny Windseer. It's a 4-cost 3/3 with flying, and when it enters battlefield, roll a d20. They didn't give it a stupid cutesy name. They didn't give it too long of a name. None of that crap. 1 through 9 scry 1, 10 through 19 scry 2, 20 scry 3. There you go. Simple. You get value out of a 20. The inconsistency with this is just painful. Next up, contact other plane. Hello there. It's just straight up 4-cost blue instant and roll a d20. 1 through 9, draw 2 cards. 10 through 19, scry 2, then draw 2 cards. And then 20, hey, look, a crit. Scry 3, then draw 3 cards. That is really powerful, but it's also like unreliable though. So will people actually play it? Next up, critical hit. Ooh, here we go. Oh, double strike, obviously. I knew that's what it was going to be before I even read it. And then whenever you roll a natural 20, return critical hit from your graveyard to your hand. Oh, nice. Well, that's 5% of the time. This isn't even worth putting in your deck. Although, I mean, double strike for 2 mana at instant speed, this is worth putting in any deck. But the second part, no. So then obviously a net, yes. Love the flavor text. How do you kill what's already dead? That's how. Next up, we got Feywild Trickster. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, create a 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature token with flying. I knew they were going to do a die roll trigger. I knew it. So it looks like dice rolling is going to be, I think, like all colors, but mostly blue and partially red, it looks like. So this might become a thing now that they're 1/1 flyers. Next up, we got Delina Wildmage. She's only a 3/2 for 4, but she's a legendary creature, and she has this crazy ability. In fact, just to prove what people were pointing out on my Discord channel, I'm going to read her abilities backwards. So first up, when she attacks, choose target creature you control, then roll a d20. So 15 through 20, create one of those tokens. Roll again. Just let that sink in. Just create one of those tokens. Which one? One of them tokens that you got. You guys always you do the stuff with the tokens. You play Magic and you just create one of those tokens. Well, pretty obvious how they got that to fit on the card. 1 through 14 is create a tapped and attack. Oh, by the way, create one of those tokens and then roll again. In case I didn't mention that, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary and it has exile this creature at the end of combat. So you can clone legendaries. You get 2 copies of it. It's gone after combat. But I mean, universal cloning, though, she has to put herself on the line because she has to attack. It's only when she attacks. But she can target herself. And I think she shouldn't be able to. I think you should risk her and then have the conundrum. It's like, oh, well, we got 2 10/10s swinging. Well, I kind of want to block them, but I kind of want to kill her to stop her from doing this again. Ooh, what do I do? That'd be like kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, like 25, I think maybe 30% of the time, inclusive of 15 I could count, but I don't care. You're going to get to roll twice and create another one, and then you might roll another 20, and I could run the odds on that, but you guys have a feel for it. It's probably 5-10%. Actually, I think it's exactly 10%. But then you'll get another one and roll again, and then every bonus roll is at least 1 other copy. So, yeah. There's a lot of creatures I would not want them to attack with, and honestly, this piece of shit mixed with that stupid ETB dragon, because his ability would still go off. It would still work that way. They need to ban that piece of shit. I am so sick of that stupid fucking card. But I could say the same about 10 other cards, so unless they rotate standard early, I honestly don't give a shit what they do, but this is just going to pour more fuel on the fire to make people hate standard and quit arena. And I don't know if they're even smart enough to realize what's happening, or if they just listen to the people on Twitter saying, it's fine, everything's fine. So anyway, moving on from this absolute design disaster, we've got Swarming Goblins. CBR exclusive. Shut the f*** up and get your bullshit off my card. You know what? If they ever make the giant mistake of giving me a promo, which it is a third party, they may very well do that. I'm going to take a big giant watermark of a dick and put it across the card. And then I'll get really confused and accidentally release it a day early so that the digital versions to cover it don't even go out for a day. So if you want to see that card, that's the version you gotta show on screen. It'll be sitting there like a landmine for all those stupid Twitch dumb fucks who don't do the research and just wing it like, we'll do it live. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's got a picture of a on it. Oh, me. If I'm a girl, I just got banned for 1 day, and if I'm a guy, I just got permabanned. They have 2 different sets of rules based on gender, by the way. Can't wait till that site goes under. Seriously, I really can't. It's just thoughts and morons and 12-year-olds. So anyway, what this card actually does is it's a 4/3 creature for 5, which is not too bad. But then when it enters the battlefield, roll a D20. A D20. Let's go with that. And if D20 comes up 1 through 9, you create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. If D20 comes up with 10 through 19, create 2 of those tokens, ya guys. And if D20 comes up decrit, create 3 of those tokens. I can't imagine what this card says in different languages because it barely fit in English. Well, 1/1 goblin swarms and 5-cost spells don't really go together, so I think that's kind of a waste of a card, but whatever. Next up, we got Gretchen Titchwillow. God, that sounds like some e-girl thoughts name on Twitch. My name is Gretchen, the Twitch Thought Willow. Oh no, that wouldn't be her. She's wearing clothes. Oh, hold on. She's a 0/4 for 2. So if she's that defensive, I'm going back to she is definitely a female Twitch streamer. They are defensive as f***. But if you pay her 4 mana, she'll draw a card and your name on her body somewhere. This joke has way more legs than I thought it would. I did not plan this at all. I don't plan any of my content. I don't even give a shit about this channel anymore, obviously. Don't forget to subscribe. Honestly, at this point, I need it. I need the money. Watch this video twice. Dude, y'all don't owe me fucking $3.50. I won't just take a Sharpie and write your name on my arm, okay? I'm taking the shirt off, okay? I'll get one of those henna tattoo kits, all right? The little 6-week, little semi-permanent tattoo, and I will put your username right square on my man boob. $3.50. I am a cheap date, you sons of bitches. But seriously, go buy my merch or something. I'm broke as shit this month. I just got a water bill in the mail. Q3. But anyway, this hoe, if you pay this bitch for 4 mana, she'll draw a card for you, and then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Of course that's what you do, you slut. I'm pretty sure there's a creature that costs 2, maybe it's 3 that does this. You just tap the creature for no mana, and then drop a card straight from hand into play. And by the way, this is a misleading thing because when, after about turn 6, do you ever find yourself having 2 lands in hand? It is almost impossible. Just think about it. You draw 1 card per turn. 1/3 of your deck is land, approximately. Under normal circumstances, it is literally impossible to get 2 lands in your hand at once unless you forgot to play 1 turn. Now, she does draw 1 card first, but the odds of getting a land on your draw for the turn and then also on her draw are like non-existent. It's like 11% or something. But she is blue, so if you're sitting there refilling your hand over and over and over, okay, cool, but I've seen people do the, get to 10 lands and summon a bunch of trolls and or Ugin deck a lot more efficiently than hers. So I don't think she's as good as she looks on the surface. You're damn right I'm going to make the joke, just like most e-thoughts. So anyway, next up we got, there's an OG gamer girl for you. Hill Giant Herd Gorger. That is a League player if I've ever seen one. So, and plus he's got his pupper on the stream. That's smart. That is instant extra donos right. You show dog, you get money. Okay, that's some physics shit. Isaac Newton discovered that. He walked into a bar with like a goat one time. And somebody just like threw money in his face. He's like, oh, I guess there's a 4th law of motion. Or wait, how many are there supposed to be? You know what? Let's read the card. It's a 7/6 for 6, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life and 1 Twitch donation. Fantastic. So he just a chalker. He a thick boy. And for some reason, green has life gain now. He'd actually be really good in draft. Next up, we got Brazen Dwarf. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. There you go. And that's in one of the 2 primary colors that I assumed die rolling is in. So, okay. I don't think it'll be standard tier 1 meta competitive, but, it'll be a deck you could build, I guess. Next up, Jaded Sellsword. When it enters the battlefield, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, it gains first strike and haste until end of turn. And then, the flavor text is so perfect. Today? Oh, that'll cost extra. I love it. It's like, I want to hire you. Oh, what, right now? It's 8 o'clock, bro. I already had dinner. Next up, we've got, that is some creepy pasta shit right there. Wait, who is that? Bro, that's Jeff the Killer. I ain't going to throw it up because YouTube rules, but that's Jeff the Killer. So anyway, Hoarding Ogre the Killer, and his name is Jeff, is 3/3 for 4, okay, and then whenever he attacks, so recurring, nice, roll a d20, and then 1 through 9, create a treasure token, nice, 10 through 19, create 2 treasure tokens, damn, like we needed another one of those stupid freaking dragons that generates infinite treasures, and then 20, create 3 treasures, great. I don't hate this card, I just hate that this card exists at the same time as that stupid mythic dragon. And honestly, with that face, with that Jeff the Killer ass smile, he knows what an asshole he is. He knows what a troll he's being. He knows what deck he's in. Next up, we got Estrangulador, Espreita. That is Portuguese. Spanish wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that EI shit. They have higher standards than that. So anyway, if you didn't immediately identify this is a roper. They got like reach 40 in D&D. They're ridiculous. So it's a creature horror because of course it is. And it's a 4/5 for 3, but it does not untap during your untap step, but whenever you gain life, untap Lurking Roper. Are they confused about what color is the gain life color? Okay, it's not impossible in green. I'd say it's nearly impossible in red. Just like, what is it? No red spell in the history of the game has been able to destroy an enchantment or something like that. There are pretty hard rules, then there are like soft rules, you know? Like occasionally blue gains life and occasionally green gains life. I mean, they are the life one, like as far as living things and plants and all that. But usually there's like a catch or something. It's like they don't have an outright creature destruction, it's force fight or it's, plummet. But I mean, maybe that's the point. Like this is supposed to very uncommonly untap because it's a freaking 4/5. I might go for like straight up white, green, nothing but life gain triggers. I might do it. I mean, we've got 2 more of Johnny's Primates in the set. So yeah, I really, really, really think this is a mistake. Not standalone, but in the meta. Next up, we got Hired Hexblade. When they enter the battlefield, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Nice little bonus. Too bad after that it's a garbage vanilla 2 too. Oh boy. Don't think you're getting Elf Tribal going in those colors either. Next up, what the hell did they do there? Did they do that Disney Channel thing with the wand where they whip it around and then it draws the Mickey Mouse thing on the... What is that? Anyway, Arcane Investigator, maybe he'll find out. He'll find out who did that to him. Search the room, pay 6, hello, roll a d20, 1 through 9, draw a card, that's not worth it. 10 through 20 without 20 because f*** you. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So that's like, I don't know, what, Ponder, Brainstorm, Preordain, one of them. This ain't worth it. I mean, yeah, you also get a creature in the meantime, but this still ain't worth it. You can even activate that during your opponent's end step. Still not worth it. Next up, oh, you asked for it. Here it is, Bag of Holding. Everybody's been waiting for this one. It's a 1-cost artifact and no color alignment. That's nice. Everyone should get the Bag of Holding. That is nice for them to share with all decks. I have no idea what it does, though. I might eat those words. Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. And then if you pay 2 and tap it, draw a card, then discard a card. And then if you pay 4 and tap it, sacrifice Bag of Holding, return all cards exiled with Bag of Holding to their owner's hand. Don't we have a virtually identical card to this right now? It's like some kind of backpack or something. Yeah, I don't like these build up things, because as soon as you don't have 4 mana, they'll just like blow this up. And the worst thing is, for very low mana, you could just sit there and cycle cards and then get a draw trigger. So this is like now a mill card too. So this is overall a complete and utter disaster, and it only goes in degenerate decks. Wonderful. So next up, Goblin. Jeez. Take 2. Next up, we've got Goblin Javelina. I'm glad they brought back the Javelina archetype. So it's a 1-cost 1/1 with haste. I already hate it because it's red. And whenever it becomes blocked, it deals 1 damage to target creature blocking it. Oh, that is annoying. Next up, we got Power of Persuasion, a blue sorcery. Cost 3, and choose target creature opponent controls, then roll a d20 after you've already chosen it. 1 through 9, return it to its owner's hand. Okay, I mean, a little expensive for an unsummon, but 10 through 19. Oh, look, it has a true 20. Its owner puts it on the top or bottom of their library. Oh, and then 20. Gain control of it until the end of your next turn. End of your next turn. So it doesn't gain haste, so you're probably not using it this turn, but still, end of your next turn. Holy balls, that is pretty damn good. Still, 5% of the time, guys. Don't count on it. Next up, we got Rhyme Shield Frost Giant. It's just a Frost Giant Warrior, 4/5 for 5, and Ward 3, straight up. That's bordering on just full hexproof right there. And it does count for abilities too, so I mean, this thing's very resistant. Too bad literally nothing will resurrect that giant stack, because the problem with it was that every good giant costs 4 or higher. So too bad, Keldheim. This ain't gonna save you. Next up, Wizard Spellbook. 7-cost blue artifact. I'm already concerned that this is a blue artifact that costs that much. Tap it, exile target instant sorcery card from your graveyard, roll a d20, activate only as a sorcery. Right, at sorcery speed is what it should say. 1 through 9, copy that card, you may cast the copy. Okay, but you've already exiled it, so you get 1 shot at it. 10 through 19, copy that card. You may cast the copy by paying 1 rather than paying its mana cost. Hello. Or 20, copy each card exiled with Wizard Spellbook. You may cast any number of copies without paying their mana costs. Oh. Now, okay, 5% of the time, but still, I'm not familiar with that type of phrasing. It doesn't sound one and done, but it also doesn't sound like it's imbuing that inherent property onto the cards. And also, where are they? Like, they're not real cards, they're not really in your hand, but are they virtually in your hand? Do they remain in exile? Do you only have until the end of your turn to do it? Do you have until the end of the phase to do it? Do you have until the end of the resolution of this spell to do it, but you can't interrupt the resolution of the spell? I would almost assume they stick around. But it says you may cast any number of copies, not the copies of the cards gained. You may cast this card without paying its mana cost. Because then it would persist outside this card and outside the influence of this effect. That's why, like, if a Planeswalker says, create a 1/1 Devil, and when it dies, it deals 1 damage to any target, it doesn't matter if the Planeswalker is still there or not to keep granting it that. It has the inherent ability of that because the card said that when it was created. So the fact that they didn't phrase it that way, I think you have... I wouldn't even say till end of turn, because, like, where are you clearing them from? What are you doing to the copies during cleanup phase? I don't know. I mean, weigh in down below. I think we're honestly gonna have to wait for the rulings on this just to know 100% how to do this, because this is not how you do this. Next up, we've got Demilich. Ooh, mythic. Ooh. It is a quad blue devotion generating beast of a creature, 4/3 skeleton wizard. And this spell costs 1 blue less. You don't see that very often to cast for each instant or sorcery you've already cast this turn. Nice. And then whenever Demilich attacks, exile up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Copy it. You may cast the spell. Right now, here we go again. And then you may cast Demilich from your graveyard by exiling 4 instant or sorcery cards from your graveyard. That seems redundant. In addition to paying its other costs. Well, it's not just any card. You got to get rid of instants and sorceries, which is what you wanted to be there. But you still get to resurrect a 4/3 out of it. It's just, boy, you could only do that a couple times. This is a good card. It's very exotic. It's new. It's unique. And it's not too overpowered. And yeah, it has, recurring resurrection, but it's so hard to pull off that it's not reliable. But you might get it back later in the game. So the deck you'd have to build around this probably isn't good. It's just going to be, is it spell spamming garbage probably, but it could be self-mill, could be both player mill, I don't know. I don't really like that either. So like I said, I don't like anything this would fit in, but I like the idea of this card, kind of. Next up, we got Red Dragon. It's a 6-cost 4/4 with flying and fire breath. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to each opponent. Oh, ouch. Too bad it is a not great creature for 6 after that, but I guess if you include the effect, it's still hitting for 4 in the air. That's pretty good. Next up, real simple, Hulking Bugbear, 3-cost, 3/3, haste, double red. Ta-da. And then we've got the famous Shocking Grasp. Here we go. I guess then that leak probably was correct, the Korean leak. Well, it was on Wizard's own website, of course it was correct. So 2-cost blue instant, and target creature gets -2, -0 until end of turn, draw a card. Well, that's not what Shocking Grasp does in the game. Next up, we've got Kalane, Reclusive Painter. Why do you need armor on to paint? Does the brush fight you once in a while? Why is she painting her cleavage? That's a better one. Oh god, it's another E-Thought! It's another freaking Twitch bitch! So anyway, Hobag here is the 2-cost black-red 1/2 legendary creature human elf bard. I'm over my bard limit, let alone thought limit, but whenever Caitlin, whoever this is, Reclusive Painter enters the battlefield, create a treasure token, and then other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on them. Nice. For each mana from a treasure spent to cast them. Ooh, not as nice. Honestly, overall, not a great card. I mean, she's legendary and she's uncommon, so I guess they kind of agreed. And yeah, they're right. It isn't that rare to find stupid body painting thoughts taking donations from 11-year-olds with their dumb mom's credit card they stole on the shit website. I seriously streamed on Twitch for about 4 days and was like, I'm going to YouTube. This place is a joke. That was literally like 7 years ago, too. Anyway, Guardian of Faith. It's 3-cost, 3/2, double white. Devotion. I'm never going to drop it, even though it wasn't supported at all in Theros, which is kind of sad. Flash Vigilance, nice. And when it enters the battlefield, any number of other target creatures you control phase out. Ooh, bye-bye. So yeah, this is like basically a counterspell for board wipes. Or stupid red spells that are overpowered and kill everything. Or Ugin's stupid ass. But this is going to take a hit. Other than that, I mean, Spirit and Night, I could get something going with that. Pretty good card. God, are we done yet? Next up, we got Minimus Containment. I'll make you fun-sized. Look how small he is. Anyway, if you pay 3, enchant non-land permanent. Enchanted permanent is a treasure artifact with sack this artifact. You know what a treasure is. So it's a white 3-cost pin down that lets them use it as a treasure and get mana. That is pretty fucking stupid. Well, this is relegated exclusively to drafts. Oh, hallelujah, that was the last card. Good, I'm done with this shit. Seriously, I'm getting a sore throat because my mic levels are all f***ed and I need a new mixer. Or it might be the mic, but... The mixer was a $30 used pawn shop wonder. I think it's a PV, and this mic is a Shure SM58. So take a guess which one I think is the problem. But anyway, I mean, some fun cards, some interesting cards. Not too many broken cards. I mean, really just like the red one and then a couple others. And, you know, okay, not too bad. This is a pretty tame set. A lot of people are just like, oh, it's a bunch of boring stuff. This is D&D. Remember, it was supposed to be the power level of a core set because it's supposed to be a core set. But still got about 100 to go. So I bet we're going to see at least 1 to 2 more days of these spoilers. Please, Wizards, stop releasing like 50 a day. I'm getting sick of that shit. But regardless, I'll see you guys tomorrow.